Oh, oh yeah, you did tell me that. So then you picked the off day to have me on.
Yeah, which is fine. It's all good.
Yeah, feels great.
So what's up, everybody? You control you. Oh wow, that's loud. You know how we start the podcast always with what I'm grateful for. Grateful for family. Grateful for life. Specifically today, I'm grateful for communication. Some things got some things got communicated, and I feel better about life that things got communicated. So always always nice to have that happen. Next to me, as you can see, I'm not alone. We got the very, very talented multi-platinum selling producer, Mr. DJ Payne One. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm the off day guest.
You know, they guess. Yeah.
I'm on the B list. That's fine.
On the well, that you put yourself on the B list because you couldn't come at the normal time.
It's not that I couldn't.
That's what I was told.
Well,
Your people told my people.
this is a long story. It's personal. I'm grateful for family. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's what's up. Oh, well, that just saved me a question right there. So, if you don't know who this man is, as I stated already, he's a multi-platinum producer.
I'm on TikTok
DJ.
too. DJ Payne One on TikTok.
There
I
it is.
have very few followers, so anything helps.
You have more than just a few followers, don't you?
I don't even check anymore.
No, see, he's so famous he doesn't check. The man is produced for 50 Cent, Jeezy, Gierbo, Luda, Rick Ross. The list goes on. Can you just keep naming a few? Artist.
Little baby. That had a song go viral on TikTok. That was a La Pat Rodeo record. So shout out to TikTok for that because that's a hit song now.
Who was the artist on that one?
La Pat.
Oh, my bad.
And featuring Flo Milli.
Mm.
And Big J was on the original. Who the hell else have I produced for?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
I did say
yeah,
Luda.
Ludacris.
I usually start with Jeezy. I think I started with Jeezy.
Yeah, Jaheim, Polo G. I
Yeah.
did Pooh Shiesty. That was
That
Pooh
was a
Shiesty
viral
and
song
Herbo.
too, wasn't it?
That's a hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The album is platinum and the single's gold, at least.
Kevin Gates,
Yeah, Kevin Gates. Yeah.
Royce the 5'9".
Royce yeah.
Man, that's insane.
It's weird.
It's insane that you forget. That's how dope you are. You
I'm
forgot.
old. I forget a lot of stuff.
So let's get the party started. What made you want to be a producer?
I was just bored. I just loved music, and I had no idea how it was made. So one day I figured out how I could make it, at least, and it was fun. And obviously, this is probably the most, not the most, but one of the most competitive fields on the planet. So who in their right mind, as, you know, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, when the entire world is telling you, take this path, this is, you know, chasing a dream like music is pointless. Who in their right mind would go against that? And so I kind of had these two parallel trajectories where I was in school doing everything I was supposed to do, getting a degree, etc. But then I was making music because that was fun and it was keeping me out of trouble. And one day I woke up and realized I had to make a choice. And so at least temporarily I chose music, and then that became a permanent thing.
You said you had to make a choice. Why did you have to make a choice at that point in time?
Because I had a teaching degree, so it was either, you know, you can't be a part-time teacher. You can be a sub, but that's not a career. So it was either become a full-time teacher where there's just no, I mean, shout out to the teachers, they don't do anything. But teach, think about teaching, try to decompress from teaching, try to prepare, plan. They don't do anything but that. So there's no way my life could have been 50% teaching and 50% music. There's just no, and even 80% teaching and 20% music, because it's just such a demanding career. So I had to make a choice.
When So you already had a teaching degree.
Hmm.
Did you have any hit records at this time?
No, not at all.
So how did you have faith that this was the right path?
I didn't. It was just something that I wanted to figure out because I enjoyed it. It wasn't. It wasn't a safe option. It was just a matter of me wanting to see what I could do because I love doing it, and I knew that. You know, I could pretty much always go back to teaching because I had the certification and the degree, and then all I would have to do was just reapply for a license in the future if that's what I needed to do. But music was, I don't know, I don't feel like you can take a break from something like from art because then your brain just gets out of that mentality. There's no guidebook to re-immerse yourself in the music business. It just moves fast. You blink and it's a whole different world. So I knew it was a matter of if I had to prioritize one or the other at that time, it had to be music because otherwise I was just going to get left behind.
What gave you the confidence to believe that you were going to succeed at this? In order to follow it?
I was young and dumb. That's another reason it's great. If you're a young person and you want to pursue a passion like that, don't wait because you're delusional enough at that age and you have all this false confidence because I mean, maybe if you've had a really hard life, but at least when it comes to a passion like a creative endeavor, you have a lot more delusion and positive self-belief at that point in your life. Because if I had waited 5-10 years, one, I probably would be completely demotivated, and two, I'd start getting scared because whatever stability I built up in my life in that interim period, I'm gonna cling to because that's what we do as we age. We cling to our stability, and it's way harder to do a 180 at that point.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So be young and dumb and take all that naivety and stupidity and run with it. Use it to your advantage.
Yes, you could say you're young, naive, but being young and naive also tends to bring about more fears. A lot of young people get afraid of other things. They don't get afraid of bills.
Right.
They don't know how to handle all the time failure. So they don't jump out and go skydiving in their career because they're worried about failing. And society doesn't encourage young people a lot of times to go jump off the cliff, go fall down.
Yeah.
So what really helped you to just be able to say, okay, I'm jumping off the cliff beyond just being young and naive?
The truth is, I had a job. So this almost didn't happen. I almost just stuck with a traditional 9 to 5. So I'm in school, graduate, decide to try music out full time, and I had a couple part-time jobs as I'm pursuing music, living at home to save money, and then an advisor in a very tiny graduate program recruits me, and they say, well, you want to get your master's? I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to do this other stuff. And they're like, well, you can just come on as a special student part-time and see where it goes. So I do that because I don't like sitting around and not doing anything. I was so used to just, I was in school, I had all these jobs, and I was like, okay, I can't just sit around and let my brain atrophy. So went into grad school, and they waived the GRE. So I'm like, oh, I don't have to take a test that I have to pay $700 for, however much it costs. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, little did I know grad school was really expensive, but then I got a research position, blah, blah, blah. And I loved that position so much. I was working with kids. It was basically using my teaching degree. And at the end of it all, well, actually, as this is happening, I have my first big song, and it's a #1 record, platinum, everything. So I'm feeling validated at that point. I'm like, wow, I did this in just, 7 months. That's a push in the right direction. So then reality starts setting in. I'm like, why am I not rich? You know, I got a few $1,000s for this record and bought a new computer so I could make more better beats. Bought a chain, paid my lawyer, paid my manager, and then nothing else was coming in. And everyone in my city's looking at me like either I'm a liar and this, even though my name's in the liner notes, but you know how people are, they're naturally skeptical. So either I'm a liar or I'm just a millionaire and I'm not telling anybody. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm making like $30,000 a year. So not even at this job, because I had 3 jobs, so maybe I was making that much among all 3 of them. But when it came time to graduate, I get my master's degree, no longer have that position, and they're like, well, we'd like to offer you something full time. So I'm a little older then. I'm like 25-ish, and now they're dangling, you know, the carrot, and that carrot is stability, because I want to do regular shit. I want to buy a house and be stable, you know, and be an adult. And so I'm like, okay, music isn't paying. What if I take this carrot and become a regular adult, get a regular job, because I like this career field that I'm in right now. And I said, cool, yeah, I'm interested. They give me the offer, $35,000 a year. I about jumped out a window. I was like, I can't buy a house with $35,000 a year. Even back then, you couldn't. So what I realized was, all right, I'm doing music. I'm not making that much at all. Few thousand, you know, $10,000, $15,000 a year making music, and I'm supplementing that income with all these little side jobs here and there that I, you know, part-time jobs, music director for Oh My, working in radio, which crashed and burned, as you know. But I was like, you know what? If you're only if with a master's degree, all I'm getting offered is 35, and I could have looked for a new one, but that just kind of that broke my spirit and rebuilt it all at the same time. Because I was like, damn, that hurt that it was only, pun intended, that it was only 35,000. But I can do that off music, and if I can make 35,000 off of music, then I won, because I'm doing it all on my own terms. And so that's what I did, and I'm thankful, because I'm made more than 35.
That's really, you put a lot of thought into that. That's really insightful.
But
You
it was
basically
all
did
coming at me at once, though. It was like
Yeah.
time to be I prolonged being an adult for so long, and then it's just all coming, you just right at me. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's like the high-speed dodgeballs coming at my face. I was like, I got to do something. So I had to think fast, and I said thank you, but no thank you, and I don't regret it. I'm sad that I had to leave that space, but
Yeah. Man, that's really incredible. And that also, hopefully when people listen to this, they understand that how big of a decision that was, because you basically, the only way I can say it is you bet on yourself.
Right.
And you bet on yourself. This is where the being young and naive, you bet on yourself at a time where you could fall, where you were okay. If you fell down, you'd be able to get back up, and it'd be a little bit easier than if you were married with kids and tons
Right.
of bills and things of that
and
nature.
it was a recession too.
Yeah. And like I know, but they don't know, who was the artist that first placed you?
That was Jeezy. That was on an album called The Recession.
That's why-
Ironically.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's super dope. Now, you didn't just, when you say music, you didn't just rely on being a producer.
No.
What other ways did you find to use music to make money?
I was DJing a lot. I was just DJing because I was sick of the rappers I was making beats for, having all the fun. So no, it was really that, because the first show we ever did when I was a kid, I was a teenager, and the rapper that I had produced for gets on stage, and you know, it wasn't a great event, but just even having like 20, 25 people there, and I'm seeing him have all this fun, and everyone's like, oh, that was so great. I'm like, bitch, you weren't in the studio. I'm in there making these songs sound good. So I started just kind of piecemealing a DJ setup together, and first learned to scratch, and then just me being present at these spots. People were like, "Well, can you DJ a set?" I'm like, "No, you see me. I only have one turntable. I'm just learning to scratch." And so then I had to buy a second one, and then records were expensive. Thank the universe for Serato, but yeah, I started investing in that because I knew there was a demand for it. But yeah, other than that, teaching music, like I was music director for OMI for a while. That was one of my part-time positions. Shout out to them. So I was working with the first wave students. Yeah, I had the radio. That didn't pay shit, but I was still doing it. It was fun. I think it maybe kind of helped my reach a little bit. It was a signal boost. Yeah, so I was always doing something music related. It was all, but I wanted it all to be music related. I didn't want to, make music and then say, well, I'm going to be a graphic designer, because that's just going to distract me from the core of what my spirit wants me to do.
So, since we're headed in that direction, you basically are talking about the vision you had and being able to stay disciplined as far as your vision. So let's go back a little bit. What was your overall vision for music? Was it just literally, I want make music, buy a house? Was that just the overall vision? Or what was the, like when you first started this?
At the time. But, I was young, so I didn't really, those old Nintendo games where there's a map and you're going to different levels and certain levels are blacked out?
GTA still has that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't pass the third level, you can't see what's coming next. So that was kind of what it was. I had to get to the next level, and then I had a clearer vision, and then I just got more clarity. And I guess that's just a metaphor for life in general. But yeah, for me, it was like I wanted the house, and I didn't know how to get there. So then when I got to, if level 5 was the house, I was at level 2. So I get to level 3, which is creating stable income and building lines of credit and that type of thing. And then the next level is actually figuring out what the whole process is to getting a house. And then I get the house, and it's like, oh, I actually have to remodel things and make. So then that's a new level of learning. And then once I get to that point, I'm like, I don't like the way this house is decorated. So it's just one thing after another, but you have to get there in order to really understand what the next step is.
So what music bought you a house, right? You're doing all the things that you first said you wanted to do. And yeah, a house is always going to be an investment, and you're going to want to change things. But what is the vision now? What's the vision? What's keeping you going?
There's the creative side, and then there's the business side. And I'm not saying they're entirely separate, but they kind of are, in the sense that the goals are very different. Because I can accomplish the business goal without the creative goal, and the creative goal, like the creative goal is making great music. I want to just, I have ideas for music. I want to get more into producing entire projects for bigger artists, and I could do that probably right now, and it wouldn't affect my business goal, because my business goal is financial freedom. And you can have a #1 record and a Grammy and be living out of your car.
Yeah.
So they're very distinct goals.
What are they?
Yeah, financial freedom on the one, and then just really creating full bodies of work as a producer. Because I want.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I probably need some guidance here.
What is a full body of work to you?
At least I want to start with an album that I executive produce that has a reach, not just, because I can produce whatever album with whoever, and that's fun, and I love doing it. But I want to create, because it being published is another story entirely. So getting to the point where I've built enough trust to just come in and do that. You know, like I think people reach out to me for beats, but not necessarily vision for an entire body of work.
There we go. Okay. That's a different kind of creativity.
It is, but it takes a different kind of collaborator too, because I can't just do that with any and everybody.
So, for people that may not understand it, they don't understand what you're saying. Would it be fair to say you want to be more or less Dr. Dre or RZA or someone that is basically, you're the director, you're the Martin Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino for this music project?
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be RZA? Yeah,
exactly. So, wow. Let's say you accomplish that, right? In your own dream world, if we said, DJ Payne 1, you're gonna get this. This is gonna happen. Who would that artist be? In a dream world.
Hopefully, it's more than one artist. I mean, I would love it to be artists that I'm working with now that already give me a degree of trust, like a Ted Parker, somebody. But yeah, I mean, I don't think, you know, he's a very different artist from some, like T Minus, right? He's executive producing a lot of J. Cole's projects, and that's someone that I don't want to say I came up with him, but like we had the same management when we before either of us had and now he's you know, he's Dr. Dre. But yeah, I mean, like that kind of trajectory, because he was making beats at first, and then it somehow turned into him becoming an executive producer of these huge records and these huge bodies of work. So yeah, I think everyone's different, and I like the challenge of trying these different collaborative scenarios out. But then also, yeah, I mean, it would really take me working with an artist where there's mutual respect and we're challenging each other. Because it wouldn't just be my vision. It'd be meeting the artist halfway and then creating the body of work and then do the fans like it. And I guess even before then, do we like it to the point where we're committed enough to release it as is?
Yeah.
So that's just, there's so many moving parts. I'm getting a headache thinking about it, but it's also an exciting prospect.
Yeah. Man, well, shout out Frank 909 for the heart. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody tuning in. So, so is this, when you say a collab, are you saying that you want to go, not to make a direct comparison, but the DJ Khaled route when he has his own project and he's bringing artists on? Or are you saying you want to work with one artist, EP, executively produce their one project, their full project, but work with a slew of different artists doing that?
Yeah, probably the latter. Just because I don't feel like I have not the ability, but I don't know. Because people say that all the time. They're like, why don't you do a DJ Khaled thing? I'm like, you know that he had an amazing network of a lot of people that wanted to do favors for him. It's like herding cats to get a bunch of artists together on a project like that. It's more intimidating of a prospect than if I put on my vision board, create a successful solo album versus executive produce Rick Ross' next album. I feel like even though I've never ever in my life met Rick Ross, I feel like that's more attainable. And then and then once I do that, then I move on to potentially creating the whole thing myself, or I do a couple Rick Ross albums, and then I don't know, another who's in, like the Schoolboy Q album, whoever.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. It's funny to me because when I hear that, now I've known you a very long time, and I've always thought that I big you up more than you big yourself up. So when you say this, right, it sounds like to me, and please correct me if I'm completely off base here, it sounds like you basically want to hit some home runs before you try for what you would consider a grand slam.
Yeah.
You don't feel 100% confident or feel like you're in a like confidence is basically the word I want to use. I'm looking for a different word here, but you're not sure you can step out on that ledge yet.
I mean, it would be the same. No, I guess it's more intimidating to create the whole body of work yourself. So there's that, but also, you manage rappers for a long time. Try to get them together on something.
I don't. It's funny because I don't talk about that too often, but yeah, that's.
But it doesn't work, and so you know, I learned that the hard way. There were so many artists that I did favors for that, and it wasn't even like a matter of me just being childish and saying, okay, I gave you a beat, but we never discussed anything. Now I'm expecting something in return. No, it was like, I'll give you this beat. You don't have to pay for it, but I want this. I want a verse back. Yeah, I got you. Never hear back from them. So that happens so many times. I'm like, fuck all that. And even if I crowdfunded or invested all my own money in it, there's still that.
Yeah.
You know, so you it's kind of just building up my leverage. I hate to say it, but this is the way that everything works. It's not just the music business.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a popularity contest. Life is a popularity contest. So if I'm the guy that has a string of hits, it's more likely that people are going to take that project seriously and prioritize it. Otherwise, oh, that's the guy that gave us the free beat. Yeah, well, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
No, I need this. It's a 16-bar verse. Just give it to me. What's the holdup? And there's a holdup.
I got you.
So, you know, what do I do? And if I have a specific vision for the project, I just hate getting married to the outcome knowing that someone can just destroy that simply by not doing what they said they were going to do. So if I'm married to this outcome where I'm like, I see this artist on this song and that artist on that song, and this is my whole vision, it's like a house of cards. One artist pulls one card out, the whole thing collapses. But working with one artist specifically, that's why I say it's easier to work. Because if that one artist is already locked in and they're mutually committed to the project, that's easy.
Yeah, you basically, you use the right word. I would say leverage. You want the ability that if somebody didn't come through, it actually
hurts them more than it hurts me.
It hurts you. It's like, cool, you just don't make the project.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Not like this song needs you on it to tie it together, because that's why I made it.
Yeah.
And you know, as a creative, you have that vision. You absolutely need that. You just get so attached to that piece, and then you lose your mind. It's not healthy.
So, let's say you EP a few projects, eventually release your project. Does DJ Payne 1 stay in the game? Is that
What do you mean?
so? With any creative, and they do enough where they're not hungry.
Oh, and then they transition to something else. Like I become a
Yes.
manager. Or something. I already did that. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, but is there outside of just music or just releasing music, is there other avenues that you can see that you're not focused on right now, but you're like, yeah, when I get to this point and I'm established, or more established than I already am, I'm off, and I want to see what's down this street.
Right now, no. I'm at that point where the next level is still blacked out. So I'm really, I guess I can't see myself falling in love with anything the way I've fallen in love with music.
Well, even using music, like RZA, he never lost the love for music, but he does scores.
Oh yeah,
And his
Sure.
scores are crazy.
yeah. Then it would probably be more like education. It would, but I don't. It's not a fully formed vision.
I got
But
you.
I would love to do that. Just have the financial freedom to say, you know what, I'm just going to create some kind of mentorship situation. Not even putting myself at the center necessarily. It's not like an ego thing where it's like I can teach these. I don't know what I'm talking about with these kids. They're already ahead of me. So, but then maybe I can help and tie some resources
Yeah.
together. That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I look at it almost like I equate a lot of things to fighting because it's easy for me to make that analogy, or sports in general.
Yeah.
And as a fighter, you reach a point where you're not fighting the same demons anymore. You're not fighting the same things. Like you don't have the same need and hunger as you did when you started. And I tell people to watch Rocky 3 if you want to see the prime example of this, of watching somebody become successful and then not be as hungry, and then watch Mr. T just beat the crap out of Rocky essentially. And he has to go back into the depths of, he basically, in that movie, he had to go to the hood and just live like he didn't have anything in order to find that hunger again. And so with musicians, with artists, you see it a lot of times.
Yeah.
They reach a pinnacle where they don't know what to do with themselves. They basically, they've had enough people tell them how great they are that they actually start to believe it.
No, but the good thing for me is I'm on social media, so people tell me I'm a piece of shit every day, and that keeps me hungry.
So you naturally have what I call the Julius Caesar effect. He had a guy that walked right behind him that reminded him all the time, you're not a god, you're not a god, you're not anything, you're not a god.
Well, you know my friends and my family.
Yes, yeah. But see, I have a different viewpoint with friends and family. I wish more friends and family spent less time trying to humble us and more time trying to big us up, because life will humble us in the best way possible. We don't need anybody else to humble us. If we start feeling like we're too big, life will smash us down and check us really quick. And then do we learn the lesson as we climb back up? So, but it's funny you use social media. You should just call them. You're very, very intelligent, so I'm sure there's a way you can play off Caesar and just have your own little club of people that are giving you the Caesar effect. They're just, quote unquote, keeping it real and telling you that you ain't nothing, just enough so you never think of yourself too big. So that's crazy. Huge mental health advocate here. That's what's up, Frank. Now, you've shared your vision, you've shared your successes. What are some of the most impactful, I'm only going to use this word so people understand, I am not a big fan of this word, but of your failures, your missteps, or the lessons. I like to call them lessons. What are the lessons that have, your biggest lessons that have impacted you in your career?
I think the worst thing I did was hesitate or I think being stubborn is great. It's been a great asset for me. But there's productive stubbornness, there's assistive stubbornness, and then there's the stubbornness that can hinder you. So the stubbornness that hindered me was not wanting to try new things that were working for other people, like getting on the internet and starting a beat store. For decades, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Oh my God, dumbest shit ever. And now I'm the guy that's shouting from every rooftop, DJPayne1Beats.com. Everyone should do that. What are you talking about? It's not dead. It's a great. Everyone. What are you doing? Why are you resisting? It's because I did the same thing, and I knew what kind of losses I took simply by not just trying it out and learning about it. I was so reactive. So I think just being a reactionary in general is going to mess you up in the long term. I mean, that was really the biggest thing, because I don't know how many opportunities and how much money I just flushed down the toilet and all the art. Think about all the artists that came up off that era, the early 2000s beat leasing online era, like the ASAP Rockies and Wiz Khalifa's, all of them. And I'm sitting there like, no, I'm going to the Def Jam office. SoundClick. No, I'm going to the Atlantic Records office. What are you talking about? I'm going to be a millionaire. Stupid.
Why did you resist?
I was stubborn. I was really married and attached to this one trajectory. And I thought that was the only option. I wasn't being flexible. I wasn't broadening my perspective. I was just like, I got to do this. And I don't know. I guess another part of it was just kind of feeling like not doing that gave me a little more exclusivity, which was also dumb. So in that regard, it was maybe an ego thing. And then, listening to other people in the industry, like, we look down on those producers that put beats on SoundClick. I'm like, that's funny, because the artists I'm doing mixtapes for are all using, vibe beats. All the Team Hits guys, the Johnny Giuliano and Superstar Owen, all those guys, their beats were everywhere. And a lot of them became hit songs. And they're doing great right now. All of them. They're producing for Kendrick Lamar. They're doing hit songs for NLE Chopper. Like, decades later, after that era. And I'm just sitting there like, damn. Not that I would have been them, but I would have been a part of that world movement. At least. Yeah, that movement. Like DJ Burn 1 got all the ASAP Rocky placements off of his SoundClick. And they were making money in the meantime. They weren't working. They weren't like me working 3 part-time jobs.
Yeah. So, this podcast is, we focus a lot on the mental side of things and the way of thinking. And you mentioned something. I'm glad you did, because I thought I was going to have to start digging. You mentioned the ego, and the first thing that came to my mind is when you mentioned you resisted it, is being stubborn. And whenever you're stubborn, and as you mentioned, it's good to have.
Yeah.
You could be stubborn and keep working every day, and that's what makes you successful. At the same time, it can also keep you from being fresh and trying something different. And then the fear of learning something new, and then listening to other people, and it's crazy how that all messes with you. How did you break free of that? And have you broken free of that way of thinking, and that way of not letting fear dictate every single action, or not being so stubborn and so stuck in your ways that this is the only way to do it? Yeah, have you broken away from that? And if you did, what was the cause of that? What helped you through that?
I've broken away from it, but I haven't broken free of it. There are still a lot of things that I want to do, but I'm just kind of scared to do. God.
Even if it's not one moment, what moments?
No, I mean, I think the whole reality just kicking me in the stomach with being a late adapter to like the online beat selling for example. That's just one shining example because that changed my. That's why I could buy a house and a car. It wasn't because I got a hit song. I got hit songs after that happened, after I went online and started taking myself more seriously as, and I can say it now, but back then I would have never said this out loud. I'm basically e-commerce retail. It's creative. It's like the people who paint and then they sell their pieces on Etsy or whatever, or a potter who's selling on Etsy. It doesn't detract from their art. And I thought maybe it did. And I can't put a price tag on my art. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And part of that was compartmentalizing a lot of that, where it's like, okay, I love the music, but the music I love isn't necessarily the music that resonates with the world. So I just want to try more. Not that I'm making music I hate, but I just want to try different things and see what works, because that process can be enjoyable if I just change my mindset. But also, yeah, just suffering that loss. Once I saw the gains, I saw the losses. I was like, I can't do this to myself ever again. So when I have an idea now, I try to put it, I try to implement it. Or if there's something new that, like Lemonade contacted me and they're like, we're doing this. This was actually, I think Abe from BeatStars told me about this. They had a select few producers that they wanted to pilot this thing on, and it was an AI, I guess generative AI, but specifically for producers, where we actually gave consent. We licensed the input to them and owned equity in the product, which is very different, because you have, and unfortunately some of my producer idols are co-signing these generative AI platforms that are stealing art from people who were just like them at one point, not getting consent, not licensing, not paying them. So this was something that I figured, all right, well, I should try that. So I'm just starting to say yes to more things, which is a double-edged sword, because you say yes to too many things, and next thing you know, you're drowning in task. But I'd rather be busy than sitting around waiting. So yeah, I've just been, the pendulum swung from me being stubborn and saying, no, I'm not doing that, to me saying yes. And now I'm kind of trying to get back to some sort of equilibrium where I don't need to say yes to everything that sounds cool, but I at least want to try some things. Hey, if I love it, cool. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I at least didn't resist, and then I'm not going to wake up 5 years from now and say, oh, man, that thing just really served the people that said yes so well, and I got left out because I just didn't want to do it.
So as you stated, you now try to do more. You're less stubborn to things. You're more open to things.
Yeah.
You at least hear them out and at least consider what's going on. What you do that in your business life. Have you applied that to everything else in your life now?
That is my life. Yeah, no, I have. It's not. It's a process.
Oh, everything
Yeah.
is. That's
so,
life.
but yeah, I have.
What are some challenges that you face that you recognize are your challenges when it comes to your own mind?
Yeah, I think being fear-driven and clinging to comfort and clinging to what's known versus what's unknown, that's a big thing for me. And I don't want to get into my childhood or anything, but yeah, it was just having the confidence to just face a new situation without expecting to either fail or succeed, just to do it. All right. The other day we were at a cliff, and I wanted to jump into the water, but I kind of didn't because I've never done it before. And then I just did it, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. That was really fun. But that's just kind of that old cliche about jumping in, and it fits.
So we won't touch it. We'll stay off childhood then. Instantly, I wanted to go there when you said.
I mean, we
but-
can. It's just, it's always tough because my perception of oh God. Well, whatever. I'm open. Just
No. I could do this without without diving in. Too
well,
much.
you know my family.
Yeah, what you just described sounds like you're in the process of letting go of the outcome.
Yeah, I've been on that detachment journey for some years now.
Yeah, there's a author that I would say you should listen to who's really just a samurai, Miyamoto Musashi. And it's funny because I'm a big fan of him. And when I was sitting here talking to former UFC fighter Matt Brown, he was also talking about him and how to just let go of the outcome. Don't be so tied up with the outcome, because then you essentially put these expectations on yourself because you're so worried about letting this person down or this person down and letting this person down when you're really probably not. You're not going to disappoint them. And
yeah, no one cares.
Yeah, which brings me around to the great late Kobe Bryant. Listening to one of his interviews, and I make all my fighters listen to him speak on some of his interviews. He talked about how did you get over shooting air balls in one of the most important games that they had at that moment of time before they won championships. He's put in this situation, he airballs like 4 shots. And most people would just beat themselves up. Oh, I'm trash and all this. And he was like, yeah, I was angry, but I logically sift through it and was like, oh, my legs weren't there. I have to change my training schedule and change my regimen. And he said, I only came to that conclusion because I also know in the grand scheme of the universe, I am just a little grain of salt. I am not that big of a deal. Nobody cares. They might care for this moment, maybe even the next day. But in a year, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care that I missed those shots as long as I get back to work. What has helped you get to that point? Because that's what I hear. When you're saying all this, it sounds like you're letting go of the expectations and letting go of the pressure of trying to live for everybody else. You're now living for you. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a mixture of successes and failures, and realizing that the lesson in both was that, one, the failures didn't destroy my life, and the successes were the results of me not being afraid of the failures. So if you combine that, what do you get? Detachment. And now, knowing that, you look around at other people and like, I can't do that. No, it's not going to work. That's too much. I'm like, yeah, it is too much. But guess what? I don't care if you fail, and you shouldn't either, because you'll figure it out. You'll figure, and don't. Obviously, we want to use best practices. We want to put our best foot forward when we're walking into a new situation. But we're never going to be fully prepared for any new experience, and you can only prepare as much as you can, and hope that if you do fall, your fall is soft. And if you don't fall, great, you did it.
Denzel said it best. Fall forward.
Yeah.
A lot of people. You can catch yourself.
Yep.
If you fall forward, you can catch yourself. So it's better to just, if you're gonna fall going forward towards something.
Well, and that's all a matter of perspective too, because you might think you fell, and when you change your perspective, you're like, no, I learned something, so I did fall forward.
Well, okay. Name a few of those moments for you. Or I guess outside of the store. You mentioned that now.
Yeah.
You fell forward trying something new.
Probably my radio career crashing and burning and going up in flames. That was forward fall. I mean,
Mhm.
I was mad at the time, and then I realized, okay, well, this frees up time for me to do other
Mhm.
things. And when I really examined it, I never wanted to be a career radio host. I liked music. I was doing what I was doing, but what did I learn from that? A lot of networking. I learned about how radio operates. That helps me as a producer because royalties and MDs and PDs and all that, they're the ones that, at least to some extent, they're the ones that are responsible for a lot of artist success. So yeah, it helped me. And then there were the personal elements, the reason it crashed and burned. Why am I around people that are basically walking hand grenades with the pin pulled out?
Mm.
And that helped me let go of a lot of poor habits when it came to choosing the people in my life.
So that's something that I don't think, that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is removing people from their life.
Yeah, I see
And
why.
being able to understand that this person was a great moment in your life, but if you continue to bring them with, you're not going to get to the places you want to get to. How difficult was that transition for you?
Oh, then it was easy, but I was in my late 20s, I think, when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say at that moment it was easy, but up until then it was hard.
Mm.
It's like you suspecting your partner of cheating, or them being disrespectful to you for years. And you're like, yeah, but I really care about them. And then all of a sudden you walk in on them cheating, and you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of moment, but with friendships, then I had to learn that with relationships, and that was even harder. Just
Yeah.
and it's from detaching from the outcome. I'm afraid, or I was afraid of getting rid of certain friends because I'm like, yeah, but that person gives me purpose. That person brings this to my life for that particular friend. And just, when I move solo nowadays with my branding for the most part, and that's not saying that I'm doing this all on my own. I'm absolutely not. I have amazing people in my life who I collaborate with all the time. I'm a part of collectives, but I'm not putting myself second to anybody else at this point when it comes to my brand, unless it makes sense. Back then, I wasn't, because I'm not this big, loud type of guy, and you walk into situations and you think, okay, well, that's necessary. So I was around a lot of mouthpieces, and those mouthpieces sabotaged me in the end. And I realized I have to become my own mouthpiece. Even if I'm not like them, I'm like me, and I can still advocate for myself. I can't be afraid to advocate for myself. And it was all fear-based. It was like, I need these people in my corner, because otherwise I'm out here by myself. And I was like, fuck it, I'm getting a plane ticket, I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to New York. And then you learn a lot of shit just being out there, because you have to figure shit out yourself. You can't fall back on other people. The ironic part of it was, I'm thinking all these people are supporting me and propping me up. It was the opposite. And yeah, I had to learn that, and it was just fortunately I finally learned, after all these explosions, I was finally like, you know what? I need to stop playing with hand grenades. But I learned that lesson kind of late in life. Granted, there are people in their 50s still doing the same shit. So
I made a face. I shouldn't have made a face there. How long do you plan on living? If you had your wish, how long would you live? Rough estimate of age.
Detachment, man. I don't know.
4 more years till you're 97. If you live,
if I'm healthy and happy, then yeah, I'll live as long as I'm able to. But who knows?
And you're already headed down this path. But just so the people understand, it took you as long as it took you.
Yeah.
you're still young in comparison to 100 years old.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I know your grandfather lived a very long time. So
All three, all but one grandparent lived well into their 90s. So
yeah, so
yeah,
your
no,
genetics are on your side.
I'm cursed in the sense that if I don't stop making mistakes at some point in my life, I might have a very long career of fucking up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a 60-year-old, you know.
Yeah. Before we go and I have you shout things out or talk about your endeavors fully, let me just say, brother, I'm in awe of you right now. I've always loved your work ethic. I tell people still, I don't know anybody that works harder than you. For me, it's always the driving force. It's like, if I need some internal motivation, I'll say, well, man, there's got to be people working harder than you. Who do you know? Corey is one of them. DJ Payne 1 is one.
Corey's definitely
So
one.
it's like, okay, who's working so I don't have it, like, because if I was around people that, or knew people that didn't work, and that was my circle, then it would be very easy for me to sit at home. But hearing you speak now, knowing I've been around long enough to watch the grenades in your life.
Oh yeah.
And be there to try to like just give advice, or be there just as a brother to like it's okay, man. Like,
no, I know I frustrated the hell out of you as probably more than you frustrated me at that point.
It wasn't even frustration. It was just more or less I knew you could be here and you didn't need them. I always looked at you like, you don't need these people. That's why I always looked at it as a blessing to be a part of your life, because I'm like, he doesn't need me. It's just, it's really dope to hear you get it. That you don't, it doesn't mean you don't need people. You just don't need the wrong people.
Right.
And to hear you talk about that you're your own mouthpiece now, and you're your own, you know how to push your own brand now, and you're able to say yes to things, but also, no, that doesn't make sense to me. No, I don't need you. I don't need this in order for my success. My success is built on me. That's a whole nother level of confidence, brother. That's like cool. You're driving your own car. You finally understand who you are. And it's something I talk about at my gym. It's something I talk about to people, that everybody's going around the world living this lifestyle where it's like they say my car or my mind or my hair and my this, but they're not living that out. They're actually living I mind, I this, because they're not in control of their own mind. They're not in control of what they're saying. They're not in control of their thoughts. They're not in control of their actions. They're just purely reacting.
Okay, yeah.
And so then they feel stuck around the people they're around. They feel stuck in the job they're working. They feel stuck in their own lifestyle, where I'm listening to you now and it's like, no, you get it. You're not stuck. You just have to maybe move away and detach from those people and do that. And for hearing this, knowing you as long as I've known you, is utterly amazing. Forget all the other accolades. Those are dope. This, to me, is the biggest thing ever. To me, hearing you say this is like, I want to make you a plaque. Like, like, you love your plaques, and granted, you work hard for them, but to me, this is the biggest plaque and the biggest award that you can get yourself, is like that full understanding of self. It's like you
I want your
understand
face
self.
on the plaque, though.
You're
Or
gonna-
like both of us on the plaque.
Fair enough. Because honestly, everything else you can win in life, everything else that you could do in life, doesn't really mean anything if you don't understand self. And for you to understand yourself
Well,
and
better than I did.
there's understanding self doesn't mean you can't learn more.
It definitely doesn't.
When I read a book, I tend to read the book somewhere between 3 and 10 times, and I always get a new thing from it because it depends on where you're at in life and the stage you're at, and it's like you're always going to learn, but you at least have an understanding of self. And the golden life is by the time you rest and you call it a day, you've mastered yourself. But being a master at something also doesn't mean that you stop learning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is, man, that's so great. And kudos to you, sir, because there's so many people that don't do that. And there's so many people that are probably successful that still haven't taken the time to figure themselves out and even have an understanding of which you are speaking of. So kudos to you, man. This is dope. Now, what does DJ Payne 1 got going on? What can you tell the people? What's going on in your business world and in your life that people should be paying attention to?
Pay attention to everything. No, podcast is going well. We kind of rebranded. Music Entrepreneur Club Podcast is the name that's on YouTube. If anything cool happens, I'm probably going to post about it on social media. So just follow me on everything at DJ Payne 1, just the number 1.
But how do they spell pain since ChatGPT?
Yeah, what? That's weird.
I don't know, man. It's funny.
ChatGPT is now apparently people are contacting me saying ChatGPT is now recommending my YouTube videos to people who have music business questions, which is cool because I'm not opting into the YouTube thing where what the hell?
They still spelled it like that, and then I had to correct them later on, and they still because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to miss out on any questions.
Yeah, my name has never been spelled that way.
I know.
DJ PAIN number 1, not PAYNE, which is. It's a cool. That's like a name.
It made me think of Major Payne,
or like the rapper RJ Payne. But we've worked together, but we don't spell our names correctly, or we don't spell our names the same way. Yeah. So DJ Payne 1, all social media, no Y, and DJPayne1Beats.com. Also, if you're a producer, great. If you're a musician, great. Those are kind of the 2 things that I do. So I released a lot of sample packs, a lot of drum packs before 2024 became 2025. So they're still new. And those are, some of them aren't even on my site yet. A lot of them are still on the Sample Lab. So thesamplelab.com. But I upload a video to YouTube every single day. So find me on YouTube, DJ Payne 1. Some of it's music business, a lot of it's music. Some of them are every day. Yeah, I don't know why.
Goodness.
I have a problem, but yeah, that's.
Bro.
Oh, sorry, it's thesamplelab.com.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff.
No, I feel that. Now, I knew this was gonna happen. I was like, I've been preparing for it.
There we go.
TikTok does that. It's funny. Now, I don't want you to get in trouble. Is there any?
So don't get me in trouble. I don't know.
Is there any? Well, maybe it's on the verge of coming out. And it's coming out. No big deal. Are there any songs, any artists that you're working with that hasn't been announced yet that you can announce, or something new you could tell the people to go check out?
Just everyone go spam Ted Park and say, really, we have like 5 albums. And they're good. I really like them.
See, I know what that face means, so we're going to redo that. Can you re-say that? Because let me show you what you just did right here. Yeah. And so the people know.
Yeah.
This means, okay, I'm going to think really hard on this, and I'm not sure, but I know for sure what name I'm going to say, but is there something I'm missing? But really it looks like, yeah, just go check out Ted Park.
No, I said spam Ted. Go to Ted Park's social media and say, drop music 2025.
Oh, see, that looks.
That's what
way
we want.
better.
Yeah, drop music because we have a lot. And follow him too because he's a great musician and great person. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on that traditionally I would not get excited about, but it's just because it's smaller stuff. We're just building blocks. So a lot of building blocks.
Do these building blocks have names?
Some of them don't, honestly. Some of them really don't. That's why that question is a tough one because the stuff that I'm a little excited about, they're just seeds, right? They haven't grown yet. So I wish I had better news. But yeah, I mean, look, this is the year where I'm just shooting every shot. So when I'm back, I will have something concrete.
I feel that. Well, make sure you spam Ted Park. Make sure you check out all DJ Pain One's social media links and websites.
Oh, so me and Soul are back to recording stuff.
Oh, wow. That's what's up. That's super dope. That's like a completely... You know what I love about your guys' music? Is it doesn't sound like he has any business rapping on those beats sometimes, and he still makes it sound cool.
Yeah, and those are the beats that he wants from me.
Yeah, in that way, it's funny. In that way, he reminds me. I think I've told Sincere this, Craig. He reminds me of Sincere Life because Sincere, spits bars, but listens to Gucci. Not saying Gucci isn't dope, but it's just they rap completely different. And that's what I think about with Soul.
Yeah, because Soul was old school. He had the Lord Finesse flow, and then he created kind of his own thing. It was kind of like, not like he sounds like Kool Keith, but kind of in that same lane. And then he'll just text me like, just listen to his favorite rapper is Lil Durk, I think. So
see, that's so crazy to me. That's so crazy.
His favorite new rapper. So if we're ever on tour, it's just Lil Durk, Lil Durk, Lil Durk.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Well, you know what? It's okay. So another artist that I recently reconnected with, I-20. His son, Destroy Lonely.
Yeah.
And because we did an episode and it didn't go viral, but it over 100,000 views on YouTube. It was my top watched podcast episode of last year. A lot of people were like, I never would have guessed. And I'm like, I did because I knew 20. It makes complete sense that that's how his son's music sounds. Complete sense because it was just, 20 would call me up and say, Payne, I really want something that's inspired kind of by Nirvana and I want it mixed with Danzig. I'm just like, oh, God. All right. So it makes complete sense that that's when you hear the kind of like trap meets pop punk production on a Destroy Lonely song. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, of course.
Shout out I-20, a.k.a. Bobby Baritone.
The dealer himself.
The dealer himself. Oh, man. But, my daughter still talks about you guys eating in my crib.
And him choking on, that was, and I'm trying to give him the Heimlich maneuver, and it's not working, and...
See,
that was terrifying. I needed help. There was a whole room of people in the other room, and couldn't get help. And then I'm like, why weren't you helping me? Our friend is dying here, and you're like, I thought y'all was fucking around.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not. I don't joke about life-threatening medical emergencies.
It sounded, if y'all had to be there, it sounded like he was joking. It didn't.
He wasn't joking. He was choking.
He didn't sound serious. He didn't sound like someone that was dealing with life and death right then. He just said, "Hey, could you some help? Need some help?"
No, I don't even sound like that.
Hey, need some help? Need some help? It wasn't like, "Oh my God, he's about to die. Hey, get in here, get in here. I need help right now." It wasn't.
I thought y'all was play fighting or something.
Yeah,
like I don't.
It didn't sound.
When have you ever seen him play fight?
I mean, he talks about boxing and doing stuff all the time. So
he talks about fighting in the club. That was not the club. That was your living room.
That was a good pun right there.
You used to be a good pun when I used to Photoshop you on Big Pun's body. And people got really upset about that.
They did. They had. It was weird. People get upset over nothing.
Oh, don't I know it?
You. What is the okay? Before we get offline, what is the funniest, craziest thing someone said to you on social media where you just was like,
That's a whole
That's
episode,
crazy.
man. Yeah, that's a whole episode. I think the funniest thing anyone can ever say, and it's a lot of people say this, the funniest thing you can ever say to me is on my social media, when you go on my content, you say, well, no, I've never heard of you. You're here. It's like someone showing up to my house and being like, I don't even know where the fuck you live. But you're here. It's the weirdest. What are we doing here? That summarizes the social media experience.
you know what I love most about this is that you get so animated about it. You get so, and it that will forever make me
No,
laugh.
that level of absolute absence of logic, it's like pouring salt on a snail. That's how I feel. Like you're pouring all this ridiculously flawed logic on me. I'm just like, what the fuck? It doesn't make sense. Got to move. It's really good for cardio.
What? So, you've beefed up, and it's because of all the stupidity coming your way.
Yeah, I don't even work out. I just read comments and I'm like, what the fuck? And then that's good for the triceps. And like this is crazy. That's good for the shoulder mobility.
Fair enough.
And when you stomp on your keyboard, that's great for calves and I think glutes.
Probably glutes, hamstrings.
Yeah.
I did mention that so many people are out here not knowing they don't know self yet. That would fall in line with that. That would definitely fall in line with
I don't know what they have going on, but it's funny.
What is one tip that you can give anybody, not even a musician, to help them to help them find success?
I think writing down your goals, all of them, and then using that as a tool for accountability. So, even concrete goals like, I want to make a video a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal. Write it down. To kind of more abstract personal goals like, I want to set better boundaries in my personal life. And then just revisiting that list, changing it, expanding it, but mostly seeing how you're doing and holding yourself accountable, figuring out why you're not where you want to be or why certain ones are challenging. And then if you need help, go get help.
That's beautiful, man. That's absolutely beautiful. I like that. He just told you. You control you. Just take control of your own life and do the damn thing. Yeah, see, that confuses me every time.
Well, I should have just pointed at the shirt.
Yeah,
that was
most
silly,
definitely.
yeah.
So, all right, man, we out. Thank y'all for joining us. DJ Payne 1, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We out here. Peace.
Okay, yeah, you have to send me that because there were some cool moments.
Yeah. Yeah.